From League Safe World Headquarters, it's Fantasy Football Almost Daily. With Paul Charchia, Matt Harrison, Christian Peterson, and Brian Johnson.
Welcome to Fantasy Football Almost Daily Video Podcast Edition. I am Paul Charchia, and my co-host today, Christian Peterson and Matt Harrison. Hello, guys.
Hello, Charch.
We kicked Meeseeks to the curb.
Meeseeks
or
is
or over there.
to the
Into the
cheap
wall.
seats.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, the contributions from Meeseeks will be every bit as valuable as it was last time. Earlier in the week, we talked about some of the Week 1 observations from the preseason at the running back position. We're transitioning to the wide receiver position today. I want to start here. Sammie Coates, one of the most intriguing sleepers across fantasy football with a brutal game, including 2 fumbles and a drop pass. To what degree are you rattled about Sammie Coates? Is this enough to make you rethink him as a sleeper? Go ahead,
I'm not rattled. In fact, he came out after that game, and I don't know if anybody has fact-checked this, but he said he had literally never fumbled before in his career. Before that game.
Never once.
So I don't know. Yeah, obviously he didn't look good, but to me, maybe that just creates more of a buying opportunity because I think people will probably overreact to that. But the fact remains he's a talented guy. He was a third-round draft pick last year, has all sort of the athletic measurables that you're looking for, and he's in a great spot. Martavis Bryant is suspended for the year. He leaves behind, I think he was targeted 92 times last year.
Mm-hmm.
Heath Miller retired. The replacement, Ladarius Green, may or may not ever play again. Right. So there's a lot of opportunity here. Marcus Wheaton is in the mix, but he's had numerous opportunities over the last 2 or 3 years.
We've been waiting for Marcus Wheaton to take advantage of his opportunities
and he never does.
For years.
So here's the problem, though, is Marcus Wheaton and Sammie Coates were both on this roster last year, and I believe Sammie Coates had 2 targets.
Well, he was a rookie.
And Marcus Wheaton's had
And
80 targets in the last in each of the last 2 years.
Okay, but we know who Marcus Wheaton is, and it's a pretty nondescript player and probably a guy who's going to be banished to the slot. And we don't know. Sammie Coates has got freakish athletic ability.
He could be Martavis Bryant.
He could be.
Well, we don't know. But the coaching staff, the guys who are putting these guys on the field, they seem to keep making these decisions. And
they ran him with the first team offense.
As fantasy players, we want to go, okay, we're really bored with Marcus Wheaton. Let's find something else. But
we
coaching
should
staffs
be bored with Marcus
take their
Wheaton.
time and do this over and over again. He's a deep, deep sleeper for me. He's probably not a guy I'm going to find on rosters.
His average draft position for Sammie Coates right now is round 9. So my question to you is, it's round 9. You got most of all of your starters done. This is a high-end backup for your team. Do you want Sammie Coates as a high-end backup for your team? Christian.
Yeah, I'll take the upside, although they're round 9, I believe Stephon Diggs is still in round 9 right now. The Vikings, I would take him over Sammie Coates every time. But I like to chase the upside, and I think this is an explosive offense. Somebody else other than Antonio Brown has to get some targets and catches, and so I'll take a flyer on.
Then
Coates.
obviously you won't.
Did you say I have to take him in round 9?
That's his average
No
draft
way.
position.
It's kind of aggressive.
Not even
for,
close.
for a redraft.
No,
well,
not,
that's why we're talking about him.
Why wouldn't you rather take Darius Heyward-Bust at the last pick in your draft because
he's Darius Heyward-Bust.
He might still get more targets. They're about the same size, about the same weight. I think one of them's 6'2", 210. The other one's 6'1", 212. They're about.
I got a 10-year history with Darius Heyward-Bust that tells me that he's not an impact
also
player.
A guy who was on the field more than Sammie Coates last year.
Well, again, Coates was a raw rookie last year.
Rookies have played in the NFL before.
He wasn't ready then.
Let me ask
Reason
you
to
this.
believe.
In dynasty leagues, Coates is almost universally available if you're in a rookie/free agent draft.
Right.
Where do you slot him in? I see him going in probably late first round in some of the dynasty leagues that I've had.
That's a great question.
Or, do you say hypothetically you were on the clock with the 5th overall pick in a rookie draft right now as we speak?
Oh, hypothetically.
Yes.
If somebody in this room happened to literally be on the clock right now and Corey Coleman and Derrick Henry and Ezekiel Elliott and Laquon Treadwell had already been picked.
They were all gone.
This
is a very
random
hypothetical
example.
Yeah. Do you take Sammie
and
Coates?
And another guy in the room is going right after
right
you.
after me.
Yes.
Do you take Sammie Coates here, or would you rather have a guy like Sterling Shepard or Tyler Boyd or?
The advantage on Coates is you get a whole year of seasoning and
right.
coaching and he walks into a highly prolific offense. That's I think it's a great opportunity for him, and
I kind of do too.
I wouldn't think twice if I were about taking him. I'm not saying that it should be the selection for this random person, but I don't think it's any way out of bounds.
I think you're urging him to.
I'm not
to take this person.
I'm
to
not,
take Sammie Coates.
I am not making an urge. I am saying there are going to be a lot of the receivers that people are going to take in their rookie drafts are going to be guys that are going to do nothing in year one because they're rookie receivers.
Yeah.
So you're past that with Coates
You're past that with Coates, right?
Oh, we're well past that, Jerry.
Yeah, that's right. By the way, did you note that Sammie Coates tried to play the old "this never happens to me" really card?
Mm-hmm.
This has never happened to me before.
Right. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's what I said. Yeah. He said he's never fumbled before ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say that every time.
Rolls out that excuse too often.
I swear, it won't happen again.
That's right. All right, let's go to some of the other news. Charles Johnson caught a nice long touchdown for the Vikings. Right now, he's running ahead of Laquon Treadwell. If you had the choice, and it's still early, but your probable starter week 1 is Charles Johnson over Laquon Treadwell. If you're going to draft either one of those guys, regardless of average draft position, and there are like 12 rounds between them, who would you rather draft? Laquon Treadwell, Charles Johnson. Matt?
I think if the Vikings were really satisfied with Charles Johnson, they're not drafting Laquon Treadwell in the draft last year because they have some decent receivers on roster. Adam Thielen's a guy who came up from the practice squad and is getting more and more run and did throughout last year. And there's buzz about him in camp all over the place. And they still have Jarius Wright. They still have Stephon Diggs. If they were happy with Charles Johnson, they're probably not drafting Laquon Treadwell with the amount of depth they have. They still have Cordero Patterson there. He may or may not be on the team when the regular season starts. But I think we saw the upside with Charles Johnson too in 2014, where he had like a 3 or 4 game stretch where he had 2 touchdowns in there. Mm-hmm. He had 1 game over 100 yards, 1 game over 80 yards. And we didn't see that at all last year, and the Vikings needed it last year. They had Mike Wallace doing nothing, and Charles Johnson couldn't find the field.
He would say, if he were here to defend his last season, that he was hurt all year long, which we didn't necessarily know as much about, but he was hampered all year long. I don't think you quite answered the question. I'm looking for one name. Did you?
I'd take Treadwell over Johnson because there's massive upside, and he's a round 1 pick.
Yeah, okay. I think that's the key here, and you hit on it. That we've seen Charles Johnson's upside, and it's just okay. Yeah, he had a good run a couple of years ago at the end of the season, and seemed to have a good rapport with Teddy Bridgewater. But neither one of these guys is going to be the number 1 wide receiver there. That's going to be Stephon Diggs, and I just think if there's one guy who has the potential to help you down the line in the second half of the season, it's Treadwell as more of just a more explosive player. Better upside in the red zone, and the first round rookie that they picked with the idea of taking over on the other side of Stephon Diggs. So I think it's just a matter of time before Treadwell gets in there. I don't know if either one of these guys are going to make a huge impact, but I think Treadwell has a better chance of doing that.
Well, let's go here then. Same round ADP, Stephon Diggs and Treadwell right now. We're all on Diggs, right?
Absolutely.
I'd rather have Diggs.
I think I'd rather have Diggs too.
Yep. Yeah, Treadwell's going to be a good goal line receiver. And I think he could. There's a really good chance he will lead the team in touchdowns, but receptions, yards, and just overall safety clearly goes to Stephon Diggs, who's the number 1 for the moment for the Vikings. All right, Dorial GreenBeckham traded, is now in his new home. Does he have much value? His ADP, by the way, is shocking. It was 10th round, which is
too high.
Obviously, knowing what we know now, that Dorial GreenBeckham traded for a utility lineman. Round 10 was a huge blunder by those who paid that price. But at this point, do you think he's even rosterable as an Eagle?
I don't think so. I don't know if he was rosterable, as a Titan either. Part of the problem was that he was unable to pick up the offense, and he was there for 2 off seasons and a full season, and now you're going to throw him in a new offense that he has to pick up now, and he couldn't pick up the old one that he'd already been in for a year and a half. I don't like the odds of him making an immediate impact. Maybe down the line somewhere something clicks and he figures it out. And again, this is an athletic guy who everybody loves the upside on. But until he figures it out, certainly in redraft, I'm
all right.
Not
so let me ask you this. Well, I'll either one of you. It's a dynasty or an empire draft. You've got to drop players to add players. Are you dropping him in that situation? Your dynasty league. So as a young player. Who was drafted with a high draft pick, 2nd round, I believe. Are you just going to drop Dorial GreenBeckham outright?
Yes, absolutely.
somebody
Because
else?
the Titans are crazy stupid at drafting wide receivers in the first and second round. It's been proven over and over again.
Justin
made a
Hunter.
lot of
Justin
bad- lot
Hunter,
of bad
Kendall
decisions.
Wright's has been terrible the last 2 years.
Hurt.
Dorial
In fairness, hurt the
GreenBeckham
last
is in
few
there
years,
too.
yes.
But that depth chart in Tennessee was so huge. They still have Andre Johnson. They still have Harry Douglas. They just had way too many wide receivers. And this guy obviously needs a Fisher-Price offense in order to understand it and put the circles in the circles, and he can't figure it out. So
All right.
send him to Philly. We'll just see what they can get for him. And their offensive line was terrible. So
We know Delaney Walker's going to remain sort of go-to
yeah.
receiver there. What about Rishard Matthews, who got glowing reports in the offseason, walks in now, and he's the only guy with a pulse. They targeted him in the offseason, went and got him, and by all accounts, he's looked very good. I think Rishard Matthews is a legitimate, sneaky sleeper. Granted, it's going to be a run-first offense. Delaney Walker is going to be option one in the passing game, but I think Rishard Matthews is the other guy that people should be thinking about here. Current ADP for Rishard Matthews, round 13.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Maybe even before Green-Beckham left, he should have been.
He should have been drafted
He
ahead
should
of
have been
him.
considered, higher in the draft. And they gave him a lot of money in the offseason as well. They're going to play him. He's going to be their number one wide receiver. Matt, you mentioned sort of the cast-offs that they have, the veterans that, Kendall Wright has never amounted to much, and some of the other veterans. And then they have another Tajay Sharp, a round 5 rookie, kind of a deeper guy. So, yeah, I think when they throw, it's going to go to Delaney Walker first and Rishard Matthews second. And he was a guy who was very productive last year in a not very high-powered offense down in Miami. So, yeah, I like him. In round 14, he costs almost free. So, yeah, I really like him that late in the draft.
what is the upside of Rishard Matthews? Like, what do you think the high water mark could be for him this year?
1,000 yards, 75 catches, 1,000 yards, 7-8
Yeah,
touchdowns.
Okay.
that's useful.
That's definitely useful.
Sure.
If he plays 16 games and is reasonably productive, yeah, I think that's your upside. Your downside, not even counting injury, is 55 catches, 600 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And
Yeah, the downside is that Delaney Walker hogs a lot of the targets, and then that Kendall Wright is actually healthy. And when
yeah.
healthy, he's
Yeah.
a guy who catches a lot of passes.
Yeah.
So
Doesn't
the
do anything with
yeah,
them.
the
He
downside
catches
is
them.
that Matthews ends up more like third in the pecking order
Right.
than second.
Right. All right, thank you for watching. If you want to check out LeagueSafe for the first time, you can use promo code FFAD, Fantasy Football Almost Daily, FFAD, promo code, and we will throw $10 into your league's pot. How about that? That's very nice of us. Mm-hmm. And if you are
Nice
looking
job,
to
us.
join, nice job, us. And remember, LeagueSafe can be as free as you want it to be. You can deposit money in for free, and you can also take money out of our system when you're a winner at the end of the year for free. So it can be as free as you want it to be, and we're going to add $10 in if you're a first-time user. FFAD. Also, if you're looking for a real money league that with big payouts, potentially, especially, go to safeleagues.com. We also have Empire Leagues if you want to take a look at those. A real commissioner that runs those leagues and make sure there's no shenanigans. Play against other people that we help match make with you, and you get to fire up a new league.
The fun part about the Safe Leagues is Brian's the commissioner. And
Yep.
he talks about all the trades that happen in the Safe leagues in the office. So we spit around all these trade offers that these guys are making out here, and we're like, oh, that guy got ripped off, or oh, that's a pretty fair deal. I kind of like the way this guy's doing it right now.
And the
they're
reason we check all the
active
trades
leagues.
is,
Yeah.
again, because we've got a commissioner who's making sure there's no shenanigans going
Yep.
on in the leagues. So, absolutely. Check out Safe Leagues for that as well. We'll be back soon for more Fantasy Football Almost Daily.